Wide. I feel like I look wide. I've got a tiny head and a massive body.
On the quality and quantity of the data they continue to return.
No, it's fine. I'm still put off by Jesus' lack of face.
Oh,
But it's not. Is that using his name in vain then?
really?
Because
No.
I mean,
As long as I suppose you don't idolise it, or
I don't idolise the sticker.
I think what it says is don't worship anything in his image.
Oh yeah, well, I mean by using that effectively. Sure, I can give him some eyes.
But then I actually don't understand that, because I guess people do. They bow down to statues
Yeah.
and stuff. I want to get really comfy and go to sleep. We are recording, aren't we?
We are, yeah.
Well,
Nino.
actually, I can probably talk about that on the thing.
Yes. Yeah. Let's.
I'll just say it. Welcome to the Exploding Paella podcast.
With me, Joseph.
And me, Shotty. You'll find us on Spotify, YouTube and Rumble. Wherever you are listening, please do like, follow and subscribe. Check out the description for more information, where you'll find access to our Patreon page.
Well done.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That was an edit point. That was quite in time between us.
It was, yeah.
So, listen, it's been Christmas.
It has been Christmas.
And, it's been a while since we've sat down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, we are going to have to sort of try and get going with it. I've got my Christmas hat on, which has got eggs on it, which I did say in the other podcast that eggs are a funny word, same as many other
I'm wondering
short
whether
words, single syllable words.
Yes. Yeah. I wonder if it fits better with a different Christian holiday or Christian,
What, the hat?
Yeah, because you don't have many eggs at Christmas, but you use more eggs, say, to do with Shrove Tuesday. Yeah, it'd be a very eggy time, wouldn't it?
You actually use quite a lot of eggs at Christmas.
Do you?
Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah, I see I didn't have any Yorkies.
Do you not?
I didn't have
Can you
any,
not
no.
get gluten-free Yorkshire?
You can, but I forgot them. So our Christmas dinner was
Ruined
eggless.
Christmas. Oh.
Maybe that's why,
And
I felt like something was missing.
possibly.
I needed an egg.
Apart from the egg and this hat, thank you very much, Nancy. I've got my Christmas wheaty yeasty beer.
Yes, which I should go nowhere near.
No, 'cause it's not gluten free.
This is definitely not gluten free.
Oh dear. I do feel like it's been quite crazy, even though I didn't do even half of what everybody else did this year.
It's always that thing though, I think, with Christmas, like the run up to it, you feel like you've got so many things to get done, so much to do, there's going to be loads going on, and inevitably you're still doing bits on, day before Christmas, Christmas Eve, whatever, and then Christmas finally comes, and it always feels like it comes too soon, even though the run up to it, well, for me it does, has been ages. And then inevitably, even when you've got more time than you would normally have, it always feels like there's a lot going on.
Yeah. I did leave it to the last minute again, as I kind of do every year. This year, I'm not really going to talk about it on the podcast, but this Christmas was certainly a very different one in a big way this year. And, there's kind of part of me just didn't really want to participate. And then, but, again, it's that kind of thing, isn't it? It's Christmas and you kind of have to. But my point was, I usually leave things until the last minute, but I was even worse this year.
Yeah.
I was, literally, I think it was, because this is the thing about Christmas as well, you lose track of all the days.
Yeah.
You just, still, even now, it's I don't know what day it is, because it's just it seems like a load of weekends have been randomly just splattered across a couple of weeks, and people finishing at different times, and maybe that's one thing that I don't really like about Christmas, because you don't know where you are with things, apart from obviously the one day,
and your routines go out, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a funny one really, because I feel like Christmas is a lot of people seem to feel like this. I talk to Christmas is quite stressful. You know, there's a lot of pressure to, you know, find things that people want and, you know, that kind of thing. And then obviously there's always a lot going on. But then at the same time, I think if it wasn't a slightly pressured thing that you should do these things, then you just wouldn't do them.
No, it's there's everybody's doing it, isn't it? You can't, you know, kind of get out of that. I think the thing was anyway, going back to my original point, sorry to like not stay on track, but I can't remember whatever it was. It was the 22nd of December, I think, and then I realised, oh yeah, I'll do some Christmas shopping today. How long have I got? And then kind of worked it out and was going, oh no, my sisters are going away tomorrow. I've actually only got today to do it. And
it's a little bit late.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was even worse this year because I just wasn't just couldn't get my head around the days or how many days there was to go. Managed to kind of get it done.
Yeah.
But also, and maybe save this for later, I do think the stress is just in the air.
Yeah,
because it wasn't that stressful, really what I had to do, but you still feel that kind of like
you
agitation.
Do. I'm just going to interject for one moment.
Yeah, carry on.
We've got a new timer.
Damn, we've forgotten. See, this is how I'm all over the place with time. I even forgot the timer.
It's another one that feels very nice. It's a little cat.
A lovely little cat.
So we'll set that for 30 minutes.
I've got another word for cat.
Have you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not...
I won't
not
say
to be
it.
used in public.
I won't say it.
I like cats, so
I know you do.
So that's my favourite timer so far because obviously
that's a wonderful timer. Thank you, Joe. I'm not sure when you're going to run out finding them.
Never.
But that's a lovely timer, and again, it's smooth like the owl.
Yeah, the owl's pretty good as well.
Yeah, they're all amazing.
I know. I kind of think that at some point we're gonna have exhausted the amount of timers, but
yeah, we could get an atomic clock or like a pendulum, like a grandfather clock.
We have to get the whole hog. And you're like, can you hear something in the background of these grandfather clocks going dong dong?
Yeah, or get something like that, or maybe we'll just get, what is it that they use for atomic timers? It's a tiny little quartz crystal.
Yeah.
Is it quartz?
I think so.
But it's something that vibrates so many times a second.
Yeah.
Because it's like 4 million times a second.
It's perfect.
They can define. Well, it's still not perfect, but they can define a second very accurately.
Because a normal clock will go out.
Because of the number of vibrations in a second, they can line it up to know that is the best second you're ever going to get.
And it's atomic.
So we could get one of those, like this ball of like crystal just vibrating in front of us.
We definitely need some kind of shelf for that.
Do you think quartz, like atomic clocks, only go up to 55 minutes?
I think so, yeah. It's unnecessary to go further.
Imagine the egg you could make.
I imagine.
With an atomic clock next to your microwave.
It reminds me of a friend who bought a slow cooker and decided to do eggs in it. He did.
It's funny as soon as you said slow cooker. I don't know why.
Why he decided to do eggs in the slow cooker, but he thought,
why, you're not meant to then?
Well, you can, but you think they're not something that you generally... It's not like with a stew.
Slowly.
Yeah, with a stew, you cook it slowly over, like, I don't know, several hours, so the meat's really juicy. That doesn't feel like something that's going to work with eggs. Right. Anyway, he thought it was a good idea. He thought, I want some scrambled eggs in 4 or 5 hours. I'll put 12 eggs in a slow cooker. And then, 4 or 5 hours, I'll have these lovely moist eggs.
Right.
Anyway, carries on doing what he's doing throughout the day, ends up having a couple of beers. It's about 9 o'clock at night. He goes out of his room because he lives in like one of these HMO style things. So there's loads of like, you've just got your flat, which is essentially a room with a bathroom, right, and then the shared kitchen, etc.
HMO.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know what it means actually.
Okay.
So he's gone down to the kitchen, done whatever he's doing, got a drink or whatever. Then he's gone to the washroom, put some clothes on to wash. As he's walking back up to his room, he's like, "Oh my God, what is this smell?" He can just smell this smell lingering in the air, and he doesn't know what he's thinking. Oh, God, someone's cooking something awful, and just assumes that one of his neighbours is just like cooking
He's
some.
still not taking responsibility for it, even though
He walks in and realises, oh, it's my room. The only reason he didn't know it smelled that bad was because he was nose blind because he'd sat in it over several hours as it had built up this smell. Hadn't realised. Popped the top off the slow cooker and was just But
what was in there?
An eggy mess.
So-
a warm, eggy mess.
There wasn't.
Certainly I think he'd been in there at this point about 11 hours. That was too long for slow cooked scrambled egg.
No, seriously, was it in there for that long?
Yeah, he did that. Yeah,
What, he just forgot about it?
yeah. He's also forgotten and left mince in
Ooh.
there for several days. With like gravy.
Slow cooker.
That's like extreme slow
How
cooking,
slow can you go?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
and it still be edible.
Oh,
but
so
anyway,
you didn't plan to leave it
No,
in there
he-
for hours?
No, he thought a couple of hours and then he'll have his eggs and they'll be all
Did he-
fine. And he didn't think it through. I don't think he's got any concept of how long he should cook things for in a slow
To be
cooker.
fair, you know, like with air fryers and slow cookers, you know, unless you're really clued up on it, it is a lot of guesswork.
I wouldn't know what to do with a slow cooker. I mean,
No.
obviously, bang a load of stuff in it and set it to a few hours at 150 or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
I would have no idea.
Whether an egg would be
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
like-
maybe it's
a
fine
viable ingredient for a slow cooker.
for 11 hours.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So note to self, and I know you like an egg. If you're gonna start slow cooking them, use one of the timers.
Okay. Right.
Anyway, that was a tangent we didn't need to go down.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So going back to the original point, which I have no
I'm not
idea
really
what it
sure
was
what
anymore.
HMO means.
Yeah, I still don't know.
Housing, municipal. No.
House of multi-occupancy.
Oh.
It's got to be something like that, hasn't it? Home of multi-occupancy, like
Yeah.
it's got to be something like that.
Maltesers, oranges.
Home of Maltese and oranges. That's the supermarket. So he lives in a supermarket.
Special accommodation, man.
It's just Maltese and oranges.
Yeah.
I'd be really disappointed because I
All day
really
long.
like Maltesers, but again, they're not gluten-free.
You can't eat
either.
them.
No.
You can't eat them.
Why am I even alive still?
They're just like,
What's the point?
Like balsa wood. What do you mean you can't eat them? They're just
Yeah.
like pockets of air.
Yeah, those pockets of
The
air.
lighter way to eat.
They've managed to
chocolate.
get.
That was an advert.
Yes,
I
from back
didn't
in
mean
the
to
day.
No, we're not
Yeah.
sponsored.
No.
Sorry.
And if we won't be sponsored, it has to be something gluten-free.
So
Because
you get a
otherwise,
year's supply.
yeah.
If it's cake, like a birthday cake,
Yeah.
they're like worth £800 a
I
piece.
know. I mean, I'd be really upset if someone like Greg's approached us and said, "Look, we'll give you one of those Greg's black card, that's like
Oh.
Greg's for life." And I'd be like, "But I can't eat anything."
You can't get a Greg's black card.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I think it's like metal as well, like like the MasterCards or whatever. That
Oh
are-
my gosh.
Yeah, and then that's it. You've got Greg's forever. Yeah, I know.
Can you
I mean, you probably won't live very long. 'cause
can
you're
you
eating
sign up
Greg's
for one of
every day.
these, or do you have to just
No, you've got to
do
be
something
special.
really special?
Yeah, you've got to do something really special with your life that Greg's go, wow.
Guinness World Records.
Yeah, like the most Greg's sausage rolls eaten in a
Oh,
24-hour
that's a silly
period.
thing. No.
Yeah, but they'd probably give you a black card for it, so.
Can you do something really abstract, like the most sausage rolls filled into a modern day tractor tire,
Wow.
like packed in?
Oh, you could.
Got one more in, and then to be able to get the tyre back on. It's a Guinness World Record because
Well,
nobody's done it before.
That reminds me of a Guinness World Record I saw the other day, which is apparently some kid in Britain had built a 20-foot tall replica of the Eiffel Tower out of toothpicks. Right? Yeah. Which sounds like, I mean, okay, yeah, that's quite a lot of
I
work.
don't even know why it's funny. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, I bet it was amazing.
Out 20 foot.
Yeah, 20 foot. But I'm thinking, okay, so if we've got toothpicks, which are like 2.5 inches long, say it, I guess,
Yeah.
but we substitute them with Greg's sausage rolls, then you're going to be looking so we can have a 60-foot Greg's sausage roll Eiffel Tower. Imagine. That's got to get you a black
Yeah, it
card.
would. And then
Yeah.
you've got a black card.
Yeah.
And then you could do the hunt for the hottest chicken
Bake.
bake. Yeah, or like cheese and onion bake.
Yeah.
Because it is. Oh no, can we really say this? It is hit and miss, isn't it? Sometimes
Yeah.
you go in and you really want, and
And
it's
they're
like
fresh and
piping
hot and
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's an amazing experience. But then sometimes you go and it's like, oh, this was the last one. That's
It's always the same though, isn't it? It's, if you have a takeaway and
it's just not as hot as I was expecting.
I wanted it to be so hot I couldn't eat it.
Yeah,
I wanted it to burn the roof of my mouth.
Yeah, because you just know and you carry it away, kind of pleased that you got this steaming thing. But I find some other places are like that, and I'm not going to mention any of the names just to avoid any trouble. But
you're worried about
it's like,
Starbucks coming around and kicking your door in.
How dare you say that Greg's produce is at varying temperatures?
They're all served at least 77 degrees. Well, they're supposed to be over 70 something, aren't they?
Are they?
Or was it 86? Well, I know it's hygiene, but so you don't get E. coli. Anyway, no, I'd never suggest you'd get that from Greg's anyway, because
no, fair enough.
Greg's an amazing chain though.
Is going to be kind of useless.
Yeah,
because I saw this really interesting video the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, where basically, is it American Express?
Yeah,
they do like a gold card and a black card.
Yeah.
And this guy was basically making fake black cards.
Okay.
But taking the credit card that they had and taking the numbers and the chips and everything and putting them in a black card, because apparently if you show that, you can get entry to like some of these restaurants.
Yeah, because they just assume you've got loads of money.
Yeah. So, and then it was like people were paying thousands of pounds for these forgery kind of black cards, but they were working credit cards.
Yeah, so the people in the diner have got no idea or whatever.
No, but like apparently, like he was whoever.
Yeah,
so, like I'm not really sure whoever. It's just a story about this guy who'd been doing this for years.
Yeah,
and of course, eventually got caught. But they could like literally show this card and actually spend all day in these restaurants and stuff. And it was like a real mark of
it's like a mark of
opulence.
Status symbol.
Yeah, whatever.
So if you lived in somewhere,
right? Can I say that opulence for that sentence? I don't know. It's a good word anyway.
But if you lived somewhere that probably has all these high-end restaurants and you can't get a table, it's sort of place that books months in advance unless you're a celebrity, but you turn up with your black card and they're like,
that guy's got some money.
Yeah, let them. We don't know who they are.
Yeah,
I don't know if you turned up wearing that hat, whether they would still act the same.
Who knows? With this hat, and a Greg's black card to go in there, and then
that's definitely a hat
the same status.
It's got to be.
You could go to like Beverly Hills and wave your Greg's card.
And they'll let you
and
in.
then be like, come in, sir. He's got a Greg's card.
Only when they try and charge it, they realise it's only good for sausage rolls and steak bakes.
And then they look at your social media and realise you built a 50-foot tower out of Greg's sausage rolls.
Throw
That's the only reason that you've got them.
It's the only thing you've ever achieved.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I think like the length people go to for some of these Guinness World Records.
Oh, no.
I mean, as much as it's always amazing that they've done these things, like, is it really, like, if aliens came down and they stumbled across a Guinness Book of World Records and this must be factually what the human race is like. What are they going to think? They're going to be like, no, we're out, we're not, we need to come back in another 100 years when they're a bit more technologically advanced, because they're building buildings out of sausage rolls and
stop running, like dressed in like different outfits. For the longest, and there are some crazy ones in there, isn't there? There's also like like sending an egg into space.
I think there's some
egg coming up today.
The Samosa Man's got that covered. So food stuff's in.
You see, I bet that's in there, isn't it?
I don't know, actually. You'd hope so.
There are some crazy ones.
The furthest catapulted out of atmosphere Indian
food
treat.
Someone wow. It's a savoury side.
Oh, yeah, but can't it still be a treat? You go,
there's probably a different language for that. I tell you what I do like watching, though, like to pass time. It says Red Bull cart things.
Yeah, they're always hilarious.
They're amazing. But again, if an alien was watching down going, I wonder what modes of transport they've got, like to get from A to B, and like whether they're ready for interstellar travel intergalactic travel. And then there's like people plummeting down these hills.
Yeah, there's two guys crammed into a pig-shaped car. Like,
and then it just smashes to bits.
Oh, it's pretty brutal though. Some of those crashes,
I know, but it's funny. It is. I'd love to have a go at that.
Yeah, but I think like
I'd love to have it.
I'd just definitely break something or.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, yeah.
You'd probably have to do like some serious kind of training and preparation for it. Do you know what I mean?
I imagine it'd be a bit like the build-up in the film Cool Runnings. Where
sitting in the bath.
Yeah.
Left turn.
Exactly.
Right turn. There's a hay bale.
I need a rather heavy-set white man in his 40s or 50s to, give me motivation.
Yeah, and then he can get you out of bed in the morning and go, don't forget you've got a Red Bull supercar thing to do.
I was reminiscing the other day about, did you ever used to watch the X Games when it was on Channel 5? Years ago. It'd always be on at like 10, 11 at night with all the, extreme BMXing and snowboarding and all. That was like, I was at an age where it was like so amazing to watch extreme sports. But now you don't really see that so much anymore. You just see all like the Red Bull stuff and whatnot. And
no, I never used to watch that kind of thing. WWF wrestling when I was like...
Yeah, when I was a bit
10.
younger. Yeah. Don't lie, 20.
Oh, come on. I'd still... You know what? If some of those old fights and episodes were on... Hulk Hogan...
Yeah, we
Ultimate
watched,
Warrior.
We watched that documentary on that was on Netflix about it. And rewatched like a WrestleMania from like 2002, and it was actually like quite like
nostalgic,
and enjoyed it for
definitely
that. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Is there anything else that's been running for so many years that's essentially
is it still going?
Yeah. They sold it for like 5 billion or something.
It's still called WWF.
Or WWE, one of the two.
Right.
WWE, because I think they had to give up the WWF because of the
World Wildlife Federation.
They had a fight and the pandas won.
Yeah, and then panda bears turning up.
Excuse me. So... but yeah, you think like what else? Like what is there any other travelling circus that's been going for
travelling
30 years or whatever?
Have you ever seen that interview where the guy's going, "What, you think it's fake? You think it's fake?" And the newsreader's like tiny, and then he slaps him, like cups him round the head.
Wow!
Like, and nearly knocks him to the floor. And he goes, "That's an open hand." Smack or whatever. He says, "You think it's fake?" Like that, because he says, "Obviously, I think it's fake." Or something. But he proper lays into him.
I mean, as much as it's,
and these guys are big.
It's like the fighting's not. It's not fake per se. It's like it's all choreographed.
Yes.
But if you were to get, I know the ring is, it's still wood. It's it's springboard, but it's still wood. It's still going to hurt if you got thrown onto that and whatnot. Which I think is
even the way they it'd be very difficult for you to be choreographed if that's right.
Yeah.
Like when they're throwing you into those ropes.
Yeah. And you've got some like 20-stone bloke jumping off the ropes at you, and you've got to think like, right, how
and
am
you've
I
got
going
to think like, right, stay rigid or do whatever. It's
and
like,
in some situations, probably not stay rigid because otherwise you're going to hurt yourself.
I thought that as soon as.
But then I'd be
like, what you're supposed to do? Go floppy, stay rigid.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
You're gonna lose.
It's bizarre.
But yeah, the Ultimate Warrior is crazy.
Crazy. It's crazy.
His Glock and his crazy. The Ultimate Warrior was crazy. But he had pink and purple ribbons in his hair.
Yeah.
And then all I remember is every time he made an appearance, he would just literally run out, disobey all the rules, pick up a chair, smash everybody over the head, and the commentators used to get caught up in it, rip the suits off, and then he'd stand there doing all this, and I was like, crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely
I was
insane.
at the era where The Rock came in and started to get big and
gosh, you're old, aren't you?
Yeah. No? What do you mean?
It was Rock.
Yeah, I was
7. I don't remember
that. But yeah, it's a funny actually how it always seems to be at the same age that people got into it, and it's like there's some point in adolescence you suddenly find violence really cool.
I think I had the plastic ring thing.
Did you?
And quite a few of the figures. Yeah. Oh man, they'd be worth
I'd be worth a fortune.
Now. If they were still in the box.
When you talk about things like, I remember being a kid and my brother's friend had all the Star Wars toys, and I used to go and buy them off him. And he sold me like the big AT-AT walker from Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, the dog-looking thing. Yeah, I had that.
Yeah, and the little two-legged one, which I can't remember what it was called.
Right.
You know, the one from Return of the Jedi with the Ewoks and all that, that come through the forest. And he used to send me like bags of the figures, and it was like they were all so cool. And back then it was like he'd sell me them for like 50p, and I didn't. But all those now are worth a fortune.
Yeah.
I mean, I think my biggest regret is I probably just still like to play with them. We're like, right, let's have a beer, let's get all the Star Wars figures out.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, awesome.
And then reciting the thing.
I do have a bit of.
I'll tell you one thing I would still play with if you could. You know, like when you used to get loads of model cars.
Oh yeah.
I used to play like I remember being like 8 years old, kind of whatever, possibly even younger. And even when we used to go on holiday to the south of France. Always used to get a car in the big supermarkets. It'd be like a toy car, and then like Matchbox and stuff like that. Corgi, whatever. And then there were ones that if you pressed it down at the front, the brake lights came on.
Wow!
And it made like a little like squealing noise. And you used to like while everybody else was doing the thing, you'd play like with these toy cars on the carpet, and make tracks.
Did you?
And stuff.
So I had one of those rugs that was.
Oh, did you?
Was a
you know
one of those classic ones. I mean, we also had some rugs in the house that were like from the I don't know, was it late 80s, early 90s? You know, that were like a bit like what we've got here,
classic kind of
Persian. And I used to just use them the same. You know, it was so. I used
That's
to have
It's a
my
vivid
favourite
memory.
was a little white Testarossa Ferrari.
Oh yeah,
And then I also had because my granddad just used to eat loads of mints, as granddads do.
Right.
Smoke loads of fags and eat loads of Mentos or Polos.
There's original.
Yeah, no. And he gave me a green Porsche 911 that had obviously come with like buy so many packs of Polos and you get this toy car.
Yeah.
Hence being green.
Yeah.
And I had that as one. They're my two favourites.
Right.
Awesome.
I've still got a box in the loft.
I think I've still got the Testarossa somewhere.
Yeah, I've still got a couple. I've got a model F40.
Oh, wicked.
I know this is only like
this is really not a very informative episode, this, is it? We're just reminiscing. I remember getting a Micro Machines. Do you remember Micro Machines? Yeah, brilliant. And it was like a lorry type thing. Might have been a bit like a bus, but it folded out and it had all the roads on it.
Yeah. Micro Machines were amazing.
I do wonder, right? Sorry,
I've still got quite a few of those.
Have
as well.
you? Well, get them out. Let's have a
have a play later. Put it on YouTube.
Yeah. Episode 6. I wonder if there's something like with kids. So I wonder if playing with physical toys does you a benefit over playing with an iPad with something on it.
Oh, 100%.
I don't know how that would work, but I just feel like
man.
it must do.
Yeah, because everything that was going on within the imagination, like, you know, I can still kind of remember, like, how those roads kind of looked like, and do you know what I mean? You could almost hear the sound coming from the car, and especially when it was like, you know, those really good kind of like likeness kind of models,
and you'd imagine like a whole scene, wouldn't you, of what was going on?
You could do, and like to have all that done for you, it's like, I don't know, is it like a not a gift but a skill, maybe, like you know, like the difference between reading and watching a movie. I suppose there's learning and education and literacy and everything else kind of like caught up with that, but even so, like, I mean, the Action Man figure. Yeah. Like, literally now, that'd be like 2 minutes for a child. Oh, his eyes move, his arms move. I'm going to get back to Fortnite because we're all jumping in on these different colours.
Lego figure where it's like, I can change his hair. That's it. He could be bald or he could have hair.
Oh, look, he's smiling constantly. Like,
he looks deranged.
But again, Lego. Like, you used to make up your own stories, man. It's like that whole kind of thing of making dens and, you know, all of that other stuff that, like, sort of came afterwards. And, just using your imagination, I suppose. Whereas, like, I don't know, I suppose like playing Fortnite and stuff when, you know, you've got different like battle axe and everything else or whatever it's called, you know, and then different skins and then you're diving in and there's all chaos going in. Could make you like competitive. But they do say, like, one of the biggest things is, like, to be skillful later in life is pattern recognition.
Right.
So, and computer games used to contribute a lot more to pattern recognition.
I suppose it was more
because they
patterns.
were linear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, if you play the game this way, and you go left here, and you dodge those two there, and then you go right. And every time you play the game from stage one, like Mario, for example, you knew which tortoise was going to jump out of which thing, you knew which bit to jump over, collect the mushroom, bang that thing twice, then you'll get bigger, then you'll go to the end.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of, patterns in it. And now it's just pure competitive combat randomness, because you don't know who you're joining the board with. Do you know what I mean?
No, so like at the age of 7 or 8, you know, we should put into the curriculum that kids play like Streets of Rage or something like
maybe.
that. Alex the Kid.
Yeah.
It makes sense, you know, because it's like problem solving as well.
Yes. Yeah, because you keep doing that level and you keep losing at the same point.
Yeah.
You go, like, then that makes you kind of determined to get past it. You've got to work it out. But now it just depends. If you get put on a board, like, you know, or get put in the lobby with a load of, there could be hackers in there could be pros in there that have just played constantly. Yeah. You know, and it's like, you just don't know. You can be eliminated in the first 5, or you might make it to the end and whatever. But it's pure combative. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I suppose
reactive.
It's like, do you remember being the first time you ever went paintballing?
Excuse me. Yeasty beer. Excuse me.
Yeah. Are you enjoying your yeasty boy?
Not as much as I thought I would, but
yeah, that is very bizarre. It's actually the name of the lager that you were drinking before, Yeasty Boy.
Yeasty Boy, yeah.
But yeah, so like, you remember the first time you went paintballing, and it was like, wow, and you know, it was like it's like, I can kind of understand, you know, in America where they have these big reenactments, and all these people get together and they dress up like they're Confederates, and you know, whatever.
Yeah.
What was the other side? The Confederates called? You obviously had the Confederates in America, American Civil War,
right?
The Confederates and the
I'm not sure.
British.
Was it?
Well, yeah, it was the British, but yeah. Anyway, they dress up and they reenact these big battles.
Yeah.
And, you know,
people do it for like Battle of Hastings and stuff like that.
Yeah, well,
and certain places
and
different.
Near where we are, they had that whole World at War festival where there were a lot of reenactments and World War II.
1940s stuff.
Yeah.
1930s and stuff. Yeah.
And
I know what you mean when they've got
immersive.
like massive rubber axes and like shields and stuff,
firing off cannons.
And just charging towards each other, which is a lot of fun.
Do you think they have to go to like a munition shop and say, I need some blanks? And they were like, right, what have you got? Like 9mm? No, I've got a cannon. Like, what is that?
I don't know where you get them from.
No, but yeah.
Yeah,
like,
no, I know what you mean.
Actually reenacting the whole thing, rather than like, you know, I like playing computer games, you know, playing Battlefield, Call of Duty, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the same thing. I mean, personally, for me, I'm not a big fan of playing computer games on my own.
Right.
So I'll play for hours if I'm playing online with people. Yeah. Because I enjoy the social aspect of it. But again, if I'm on my own, I might have one game, that's it. I can't really do that for some reason. I'm a bit like that with a lot of my hobbies. Like if I was to go fishing with friends, I'd go fishing with friends, but I wouldn't go fishing on my own. Oh, really? It's always that, I always like that social aspect. Yeah, I'm quite happy to spend time on my own. Yeah. But then I would do something else, watch a film or whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because when it comes to like, I mean, I'm very sort of solitary when it comes to making music and stuff. You know, there's times when I have like, you know, these recording sessions for like 2 or 3 days sometimes with different people that are like, you know, I really enjoy spending time with, and I feed off their energy and stuff. And those times are great. But a lot of the time, you know, if I'm making music, you know, if somebody else is in the room that's not into it, then you can't really, because you do kind of get into it. But my point is that with computer games, I'm kind of the same when it comes to like GTA. Yeah, you'd rather play. When GTA, to be fair, I first did it with GTA 3, the first 3D one. Like literally just wouldn't go bed and just sit up all night, and like you're just in the zone. And then GTA San Andreas, I think I had my curtains closed for like a week nearly. Wow. Yeah, I remember Emma saying she'd walked past a few times and gone,
I did wonder what was wrong because like your curtains haven't opened for like.
But it's
nearly a
terrible
week.
must have happened.
But I was literally just
stealing cars and murdering people.
Well, no, following the storyline.
Which
to be
is
fair.
stealing cars, dealing drugs, and murdering people.
Yeah, to be fair, it kind of is. But there's there's more to the story modes in those games.
Oh, I'm not putting it down.
No, fair enough. I know.
No, I get that.
But and then the same like now it's more of a solitary thing than playing online and
it's
socializing.
Funny,
but
because like I think a friend of mine, he's really into getting into. He loves gaming, and he really gets into those games where you are just story mode. Elden Ring was when he was massive on. The Final Fantasies, the role play games.
Oh, man,
they were
long.
always too much for me. Like I couldn't. Long. But then I think back to like when I was. So his brother used to play a lot of role play games when. RPGs when he was a kid, so I think that's where he picked it up from and then played. See, I didn't. Right. When I think about the games I played the most when I was a kid, it was things like GoldenEye, and there'd be four of us sat around there on the N64, 14-inch TV. How we ever managed to do it, I don't know.
Yeah.
But competing, Mario Kart. Like the competitive games.
Split screen used to be well exciting. Like
so good.
Yeah, even that was like as early as like Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I never had a Super Nintendo. I think I went down the Sony route. So I had a Master System, Mega Drive, Mega CD.
I mean, really, if you were well into it, you had both at the time. You had a Mega Drive and a Super Nintendo. Because Super Nintendo was all Mario and that. And
I always
Mega Drive was... Because it was quite exciting when you had a Nintendo and you went around to somebody else's house and they had a Mega Drive and it was Sonic. Because you never got to play Sonic on your machine because it was like...
They were really
Sega
like
only.
That.
Yeah, and Sonic the Hedgehog and Donkey Kong as well. Yeah. When that got all 3D and weird, that was like kind of...
Do you remember Doom 3D on the PS1?
Yes. Yeah, I do actually.
That was like, whoa.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm thinking of when it really went up a level was Doom 4, I think.
Right.
On the PS2, and then it was like way more immersive, like kind of Fallout.
I remember the first time I ever played on a console. And, I say console, I think it was Commodore 64. And that was like, wait for it to load. And every time we used to go to my nan and granddad's, because it was always like you go to your nan and granddad's and that's where it's naughty and they let you like play on the computer loads and watch James Bond, which you weren't allowed to watch at home because it was James Bond and you were 7. Drink Coca-Cola and all the things you weren't allowed to do at home. And they used to, every time we went to stay with them, they'd take us out and they'd buy us a new Commodore 64 game. It was brilliant.
The little tape.
Yeah, I remember buying James Bond and Terminator 2.
Really? Commodore 64?
Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah.
Not Amiga?
No, Commodore 64.
Wow.
Yeah. We've actually still got the Commodore 64. I think it's in my dad's loft.
Right, okay.
I really want to get that out now because how retro is that now?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we used to have a Commodore 64. And you put the tapes in and then it would like just play like kind of white noise and like internet dial-up and all these codes. What?
It's half an hour.
Oh, did you do it for half an hour?
Yeah, well, I thought we'll have it, intermission.
Oh, yeah, of course. We've got to be back after this commercial break, haven't we?
Which saying intermission just reminds me of when, for some reason, I agreed to go and watch Titanic when it came out of the cinema.
Right.
And it was back, they still did an intermission at that cinema then. Which was like, thank God, because it was like 3.5 hours long. And I think if you'd sat through 3.5 hours without having an intermission, it'd been horrendous.
Right.
But it kind of taught me the fact that if you're ever going to do something really long, make sure you have a break in the middle or you really won't enjoy it.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's Fair that. Enough.
Well, we've really, that's a bit, I did not intend to talk about that.
Well, it's Christmas time. It's
reminiscing about, it's definitely, nice. It's really good. And we are very chilled out this week, I think. Yeah. Anyway, we'll be back after this short commercial break. Do stay with us.
Need an easier way to see what your pet has been eating? Perhaps it ate your false teeth. Or even worse, your wedding ring. Retrieve items easily after they've been swallowed, and avoid filthy black nails with the Poop Sifter 3000. The easy way to find items in poo. Order now while stocks last.
And we hoped. No. And we hope you enjoyed that commercial break, and we're back.
Yeah, so we admittedly spent longer talking about nostalgic things, but then I feel like that's right this time of year.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good to reminisce.
It was actually, I was at a friend's house the other day, and his nephew was there, and he must be, I don't know, 5, and he'd got a remote control car for Christmas. And I thought it was really nice seeing him play with something that was physical rather than like a computer game or something like that.
Yeah, something on the phone.
And also I wanted to go, but he wouldn't let me. I got really annoyed about that.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, definitely. No, I could talk about computer games and stuff for a long time.
The only problem with that is if we're not careful, we'd end up not being talking about anything current affairs at all, and talking about the 80s and 90s. Not that we're that old.
Look, it's been Christmas. I think I certainly haven't been catching up on current affairs at all.
No.
I've certainly not seen the news or anything like that. I just know that it's been chaos outside. Like, there was one day when I thought, I'd just nip to Lidl really quickly, and it was like you couldn't get in the car park.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my gosh, why is it like this? I just need to run in and get something. And
Yeah.
it just feels like it's been like that for ages, and that's kind of what consumes your focus.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. So it's not going to hurt to have an episode where we're not really talking in depth about that kind of thing.
I always try and keep up a little bit with what's going on.
Yeah.
Just because there's a couple of people that I follow on X, and inevitably I'll just go and just see what they've been posting.
Yeah. That's fair enough, mate. If you've got something specific.
Well, no,
like to discuss.
There was I saw a story the other day, and it shocked me. I must say. Now,
see, as soon as you say this, I have no idea whether we're going into samosas in space.
Apparently, that someone was attending a Christmas party, and they'd obviously gone the whole hog, nativity. They had reindeers there, and one of the reindeers escaped. This was actually in the UK, and subsequently a chase took place between armed response police and a reindeer.
Was that this year?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's happened before.
It probably has.
Yeah.
And it, ensued, and then eventually they found the reindeer just asleep in a field. But it sort of begged the question as to, A, why did you really need armed response? I mean, and B, surely it was always going to end the same way, because at some point it's going to go, I'll have a little nap, I'll graze a bit.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think, when you were telling that story and you said you were really shocked, I was really trying not to laugh, because I don't know what you're going to come out with. And sometimes I enter into it full of humour and
hope,
stuff, and then
it's a really dark subject.
and then it's a really dark subject, and I feel really bad for laughing. So
yeah,
I'm glad it went the way it did.
Well, I think everybody was.
The thing is, it's like, why would you really have to go as far as having a reindeer?
I know, it's just over the top.
For a Christmas party. And also, I just don't think, the police, the cars that they've got and stuff now, and the electronics and the GPS, are equipped enough to deal with
they can
reindeer.
They can signal jam a drone, but they don't know what to do with a reindeer.
No, that's gonna they're not trained with lassos anymore, are they, and stuff? And
it's not the Wild West.
No,
although maybe it's more like the Wild West than ever. I don't know.
Well, but no. So I can kind of understand it. I mean, who else do you call? Who are you going to call?
Ghostbusters. Santa. No, it's been a bit of a weird, because I've been trying to keep up a little bit with what's going on, and there's so much focus at the moment with American politics, with what's going on with all this fraud that Elon Musk has been calling out, sort of ever since he was involved in Doge, and this sort of interstate fraud between Minnesota, where they've got these big Somali communities, and they think that Minnesota sort of local state have been fraudulently getting all these finances for childcare places.
Is this all allegedly?
Yeah, I mean, so there's been a lot going on in that it's something that Elon Musk had already been sort of talking about. It's something Donald Trump had been talking about. And then there was a YouTuber who actually went and did a 90-minute video going around and visiting these facilities and finding that there was very little children there, and it seemed like they were kind of, scams, as it were. Right. Just before we go any further, I'm going to set the timer. Oh, I twisted him the wrong way.
Oh, no, don't do that.
Oh, no, which is the right way? That's the right way.
Cat's neck.
Oh, no, I went too far.
In 30 minutes at a time. So when it gets back round, fair enough.
But it's, it feels quite like the media cycle, especially in America, is like massively divisive at the moment. You know, it's all Republicans trying to say that Democrats have been wasting all this money and whatnot. And I don't doubt that, like, there's a lot of financial wastage in America. I'm sure there is everywhere.
Yeah, 100%.
Excuse me. And,
well, supposedly, I mean, it's the case for our government. The big black hole, as they talk about. Yeah. Like, where's it all going and where's it gone and this, that, and the other. I mean, there's always kind of.
I was having this conversation with my dad only yesterday, and he was talking about HS2, the high-speed train. Yeah. And they're ending it now, apparently, at Birmingham, when it was originally going to go all the way to Manchester. Right. Because they ran out of funds. They'd gone so over budget anyway. They'd gone, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 times over budget, and they'd only got that far. But then, like, with things like that, you kind of go back to, like, well, was it ever actually really that necessary? I mean, they're trying to drum up sort of trade across the UK and make other places in the UK, hubs for certain industries and whatnot. But would a train change that? I mean, you're not going to get workers getting on a train from London to go to Manchester to go to work.
No.
So is there any real need for that? You know?
And it shaved off 20 minutes to get to Birmingham.
Yeah, it's like, that's pointless.
Which is like...
I've been listening to quite a lot about sort of global macroeconomics in China and stuff like that, just because I find it interesting. And it feels like quite often on mainstream, you don't really get a good picture of it. Whereas, there's certain people doing podcasts and videos where they're doing a lot of in-depth research. So you feel like you're getting a better view from them.
Independent journalism.
Yeah, and that's a prime example of this guy who's doing independent journalism, who'd gone to Minnesota to try and work out what was going on. And now, since he's done that and that video's come out and it's got something like 100 million views in like 2 days, now... I say everyone,
the numbers are big, like when you compare them to what
mainstream media, legacy media,
as people call it now. It's still, it's MSM, mainstream media, legacy media. I mean, I think legacy media as a term is kind of, insinuating that you're old news now. We are the news. Do you know what I mean? Which I get. Yeah, because it kind of is that when you look at the numbers game. But, like legacy media is that, like, no, you're out of date. There's a lot of people that don't consider it legacy media. Yeah.
But I think, when you get these sort of private individuals that have they've got a financial incentive that this guy who's got 100 million views on YouTube, he's getting paid for that. That's earning him. I don't know what it earns yet. I've got no idea. But surely once you get up to those sort of figures, it's a paycheck,
Yeah.
So obviously he's got an incentive to try and show the worst side of whatever he's going to show or what would be the most interesting. But there's obviously something in it, and now that, everyone's talking about it. But yeah, I mean, America feels very much like there doesn't seem to be a point where anyone's actually necessarily getting together to fix any of these problems.
When do they ever, though?
No, and I was listening to another podcast the other day, and actually had Jimmy Carr on it, which you'd think, well, he would be all jokes, but he's obviously very intelligent, reads a lot,
100%.
And he was sort of talking about the fact that we've become so detached with all these huge stories that we're not trying to fix any of the smaller things that we can actually fix. And it kind of makes sense, really, because you think about it, like, everyone's so, we get, say in Britain, for example, something becomes a big issue, like people were with immigration, and now all of a sudden, because there's somebody's talking about what Prince Andrew's been doing or not doing, or what, something else, that they stop talking about the things they were talking about before. Now, I'm not saying immigration was the issue that they should have all been talking about, but when they were, then the government started talking about trying to change things.
I know what you mean.
It moves on.
Those kind of like smaller issues, which, I mean, you'd like to think they are being addressed somewhere in the background, but they get overtaken almost in this kind of like whitewashing process that like, no, we're no longer talking about that, so you don't need to worry about that. This is kind of,
and some of it is really quite like, you talk about like the use in Britain of food banks, and so many families, using.
Do you think though, it's like, if you read the Financial Times, you're going to get like obviously different stories as to if you read, the Daily Mail.
Of course.
Because you've got the Daily Star, as it was. I don't think that's even going anymore, is it? And then the Daily Mail, then the Financial Times, and the Telegraph.
Yeah.
Each one of those is like a completely different window into the world.
Yeah, and the Guardian and whatnot.
And I must confess, I don't really watch as much mainstream news. I have the radio on a lot during the day, like when I'm kind of working and stuff, so I do get the hourly news, which again is kind of, it's I suppose it's the day's headlines, but even the fact that every hour throughout that day it's the same repeated news on whatever political event or geopolitical event that's taking place, it's that same repeat every hour. Unless the news must change, but there's always been that standard that it's the news that reaches the doorstep in the morning, and how they used to do that like 100 years ago, with printing presses and stuff. And it's like you could get some kind of news event. Well, actually, even into, I take that back, but especially back then, but even like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, when we don't get newspaper drops like we used to, but you could have something happen at 10 o'clock at night and it would be on the front page of every single newspaper, and it'd be on the doorstep of every single newsagent. Within that window they printed and dispatched, and like it's a massive industry.
Pretty impressive. Whereas now, rather than, I suppose, in that effect, people would have a story, and that would be the stories that they would see for that day.
Yeah.
And then the next day there may be something else, or they continue talking about it if it's a big issue. Whereas now,
it's not like that now, is it?
Like, for example, yesterday I was, following this one particular person who they put out a lot of news content, and within 10 minutes I've read a story about the Ukraine American He put me off a little bit there.
I'm sorry, I was checking my microphone's working, the cable had moved.
Ukraine-American discussions about ending the war.
Yeah, which I heard about yesterday. Yeah.
I'd read about these issues in, potential issues in Minnesota. I'd read about stories in the UK to do with surveillance or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm reading, 5-6 different topics within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean that I would maybe I wouldn't take them on board as seriously? Maybe I wouldn't think about them as much.
If you bought a particular newspaper, you would have seen the same kind of spread, if you like. But obviously they're not updated in real time. The thing is, it's like I can go onto Yahoo or something, and then you get the top headlines at the top that are right now. They've got them scrolling across, which I don't really like. But it's
that's like a bit old school CNN style, isn't it?
Yeah, but they used to just have like the stories, and then you log in, and now it's all like the page has to move around in front of you, and you go to click on something, and then it's gone, and it's really annoying. But yeah, you can go on in the afternoon and see different stories, and there's been times when I've said to somebody, "Oh, so and so's passed away," like some prolific actor, and I've gone, "Really? Where did you hear that?" And I'm like, "Oh, as soon as I opened my laptop, it was there. Yeah. But then that doesn't hit the papers until the next day, and then it's like the 10 o'clock news that's reporting it. Yeah, like there was always this delay kind of thing, wasn't there?
Whereas now it's just there.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say, some of the podcasters I follow, one of them in particular, American chap, he's very focused on doing deep dives into. So once a week, he'll find a subject that's been in the news, and he'll do a deep dive and present, all the information.
Yeah.
Which is really good because, you might listen to it for an hour, 45 minutes, maybe, whatever.
Yeah.
But you're getting all that information about that one subject. You know, he's
Yeah.
researched it thoroughly.
Yeah.
Nothing there is opinion. It's there is always their own opinion, obviously, but it's all backed up with facts.
Yeah.
Rather than just getting a news headline. And I suppose that's the thing with this whole thing with BBC and the Trump. And the Trump? He's now called the Trump. Imagine.
Seeing the Trump.
What's what's it called? Where you're a Mr. or a Doctor or whatever, Mrs.
The Trump.
He's just the. So.
Excuse me.
But obviously with this whole, thing about the BBC cutting his speech to, as we talked about before, Panorama
program,
and it's like, well, is that a symptom of, of news being so short form? Should we go back to a little bit like only talking about so much news on mainstream media? Because most people won't look into a subject in great depth.
No.
So if you're going to put a story on, say, the BBC app, should it have more information with that story? So if someone does read it, they get a better view of what's what. Yeah,
and I would say that, and also like correlating it to the whole, the origins of newspapers, where you did have a story, it would be a particular journalist or columnist, I suppose, that would write about it. And actually, as you go through the pages, there's a different journalist, that would write about it and actually give a different take on it, point of view. And you used to be able to get that, and you'd actually look for the journalists that you'd kind of trust and know and like the way that they write the whole thing. I think you'd expect the mainstream media to actually give more detail on certain things than they do. It's like usually just a very short kind of what would you sort of say, excerpt from a much bigger kind of body of information, and it's like, well, actually I can't really tell anything about that. You've just given me the basic thing. So but then there are things you can click on to follow the story and whatever, but like once you click on one thing, like you say on X and stuff, then you find people like posting links to different newspapers and stuff underneath, and different resources, different YouTube channels. And you can, if you're interested in something, really learn about that. And you go, actually, that really puts to bed what that particular news outlet said. That's very vague and misleading, because 10 other people over here have unveiled some truth to the situation. And if you only read that little thing, then really that could be very misleading and taken the wrong way. So
and I suppose news as a general,
it's beneficial, but only if you're really interested in kind of doing that or interested in the subject. I also think as well, though, I used to be like, who gets to decide the news? And like, there's so much news in the world, why are these the headlines? Kind of thing. But then depending on the paper as well, the outlet, like those headlines are particularly important to perhaps brokers, traders, members of parliament, blah blah blah. And it's that kind of thing that actually this is more, it might not be that important to you, but the impact that it will have on certain sectors, services, and trades and everything else, like actually that is really significant news, and you probably don't appreciate why. I suppose it's
now you kind of, for the most part, you search out the news that you want in terms of what outlet you're looking for to get the information more than ever. And people in the past would have said, oh well, I'm a Telegraph reader, or I'm a Guardian reader, or whatever, and they all had their left swing or right swing on it, whatever. Which is always, in some respects, is a bit weird, because surely the news is the news. But that's just shown there's always a way to report it. That
the one thing, and I don't know how careful I need to be about talking about this, but it was like Donald Trump said something off the back end of one of his advisors about Tylenol, which was a paracetamol, and that pregnant women shouldn't use it. And everybody was up in arms saying, this is the one thing that a lot of pregnant women have got to get them through some of these symptoms and blah, blah, blah. And he shouldn't just come out and say that kind of thing. And I was chatting to my sister about it a little bit, and I was like, there's no way like somebody would say that in a press conference if there wasn't some kind of truth behind it. Like, so I had to look into it. I had to really like delve into it. And there was news report after news report after news report, and like you could get like a screenshot of all these different headings from like, you know, different government bodies.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I won't mention any or reference any in case I get it wrong, but there was like all these headlines out there and this massive body of information that people have been saying this for years. And in actual fact, all he was saying was, just give us 6 months and we'll investigate it thoroughly.
Yeah.
Until then, like, be cautious. Like, advise not taking it, because there has been some studies that have shown a connection between this and autism. Just give us, this is all it will take for us to do the investigation.
Yeah.
I think it was even less than that. Like, he said, so he wasn't saying outright, nobody should do this, blah, blah, blah. He was just saying, look, we found something, a potential link. And like I say, when I looked into it, there was all these headlines, and it wasn't just completely fictitious nonsense. You know, and again, it's kind of like, if you actually want to look into like the story, if you just read that headline on the news, Donald Trump says absurd thing, like, then you go, oh my gosh, he said another absurd thing. Then you look into Tylenol and all the people that have been doing studies on it and all the people that have come forward and said this, you know, then you go, oh, actually,
I mean, I think anyway, I would much rather be in the camp of, if, you know, if someone in a government or an advisory body says, we're not sure if this drug is causing side effects or, you know, whatever it is, increased risk of this or something else. If it's something serious, you know, if it's just that we're not sure if it gives you hemorrhoids, well, everyone's going to be able to live with that because you can get cream for that. But if it's going to be life-altering things,
and they've just found something,
you know, I would rather a person in position, you know, if Keir Starmer came out tomorrow and said, right, anyone over the age of whatever, I think you should stop taking this particular type of heart medicine because we've got concerns it might be causing other issues. Let us investigate that. I think that's definitely a better way to go.
It's a sensible thing to do. I think the backlash was because, obviously, I think, you know, JFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Everything that I've seen of him, and I won't sort of condone or condemn anything at this stage, but he seems like a very reasonable guy that's trying to do the right thing, certainly. And I think that, you know, there's a lot of backlash on the whole thing because of his kind of like, it's not, as he says, it's not an anti-vaccine, you know, stance on things. It's like looking at the links and the science and everything else, and he's got his opinions and his views, and, you know, I'm not going to go into it much more than that in that sense, but I think that's probably contributed to why, oh my gosh, now in their pursuit and conquest and crusade to, you know, stop people doing this, that and the other, and they're already getting backlash for possibly saying things ahead of time or that haven't been backed up, and now say this, everybody's gone, you know, bloody hell, and it's tied into a bigger picture. And it's not just this whole study, it's the collective mission. I mean, if you've got
a
lot of people,
someone like RFK Jr., you would hope, he seems like a fairly well-educated man. Now, you're never going to...
Very well-educated, to be honest.
You're never going to agree 100% with his views. But we've got advisory bodies that should be always trying to keep a track of the pharmaceutical industry, because we know, unfortunately, there have been a number of instances where pharmaceutical industry giants have pushed products that have been detrimental to the people taking them, and then they've subsequently had to withdraw them later and been fined, and, you know, no names mentioned, but it's something that has happened. So the whole point of these, you know, the FDA and people like that, is that they're supposed to approve the drugs when there's sufficient information, but also if there's sufficient information to then investigate, because a lot of the times you will release a drug to the population and you won't see the effects until it's been out there for 5 or 10 years, because a lot of it's cumulative in the body, right? As opposed to, you know, if you get an immediate effect, it's kind of like allergic reaction. But if it's something that's built up,
shock, isn't it, or whatever you call it?
Yeah. Whereas, something that's built up over time and causing issues. So we need them to be doing that. So rather than making a big political show out of trying to make out that Donald Trump's an idiot or, RFK Jr. doesn't know what he's talking about, if they just investigate it, and the amount of money that, it should really be built into the deal with these drug companies that if you want to put something to market, if we need to investigate that at some point because we've got potential issues, then you have to pay for the FDA's time to do that so that they can always afford to do that. To the drug companies, if they've got to pay for a study on a particular diabetes medication that costs them £200,000, it's not going to really affect them.
Yeah, it's a complex issue. I think that's why I've got certain opinions and certain things that I've looked into and seen and gone, oh my gosh, I wouldn't mention them here because I think it's such a complex issue. And we're dealing with like one of the biggest industries in the world, really
akin to the
next to kind of possibly military and everything else, the pharmaceutical industry across the world, and the philanthropy and everything else that goes into it. And we've got the World Health Organization, which governs 147 member states. It's like, this is a big thing. This is like, you've got United Nations is managing all our international relationships, and then you've got the World Health Organization ensuring that we all behave a certain way. It's big now. It's big, and it's a complex thing, regardless of what I would possibly say or like to say and won't say, certainly at this stage. But I think you've always got a problem when one person perhaps took a medication and it worked out for them, right? And then you've got another one that didn't take the medication and it didn't work out for them, and they're always wishing that they had. And like, you're always going to have this conflict of people saying, well, do you know what I mean? That's right. Like their outcome is not the same as their outcome, and they're saying, how dare you stop people taking... Do you know? But
that's
what I mean?
also why you've got systems in place, like in America, the yellow card reporting system, so that when people have adverse reactions, the whole point is
all part of the kind of monitoring process.
As we found out during COVID, some of that wasn't administered very well. So maybe certain groups of the population that had issues with some of the treatments, that information didn't get to the governing bodies when it should have done, in the way it should have done. But again, that was a time when everyone said, well, we're just we're trying to stop the spread of this terrible disease. So there's always sort of trade-offs between what's urgent, what's not. And
it's a massively complex thing to kind of manage, regardless of what your own opinions are. But again, I hope I've explained that right, in the sense that like, two people can have different experiences. If you're campaigning for these vaccines to be abolished, for example, and somebody else is pro them because they truly believed it saved their lives and their children's lives, like, I think it boils down to this situation. It's like, literally, you can't tell that person what to do and they can't tell you what to do. And if everybody, that is the basic principle of being a sovereign human being on this planet, isn't it? You're right to decide what's right by you and not really interfere with other people's lives in the process, No,
but I suppose at the same time,
that conflict is really a difficult situation.
I'm not a scientist. I'm not a medical professional. I can't say whether, if I have slightly high cholesterol and you say I should take this statin, whether that's correct or not. And most sort of medical practitioners are only going off the information they're given by the drug companies. So therefore, it's down to the bodies to work out when it's applicable and when it's not. And unfortunately, we have this system where with any of the big industries, there's a lot of lobbying. So with the energy industry, there's a huge amount of lobbying, with the pharmaceutical. So you end up with in a bit of a situation where it's very difficult to know what the motives are sometimes for some of, and if we lived in a world where it was as straightforward as we're only being offered the things that are best for us, but it's not the same world it was 50 years ago when your doctor knew your whole family and knew your constitution, because they would say, oh well, I'm not going to prescribe you that because I know someone else in your family had adverse effects to that, because you may. It's not that world anymore.
No, there's not that trail, is there, at all? And it very much is that. Yeah, it's like, bring it up on a screen. Oh, this is what you need.
Yeah,
and I just think that's kind of when there's so many kind of interchangeable moving mechanics in the background, and unfortunately allegedly lobbying, like you say, that goes on, where it's like, no, push this product because it's had more funding, kind of thing. It's like, I mean, this has gone out. If you can look into it, you can look at the film as well, Dallas Buyers Club. That's an amazing film. But it does give you a little bit of an insight into the industries behind it that are testing this and won't release this, and also it's like they've got complete control over that, and even if there's something out there that's deemed to be beneficial and appropriate medication, you can't get access to it unless you go through certain channels, and this thing that there are medications and remedies out there, but you can't have them unless you go to another country and spend £60,000 of your life savings. It's like, hold on a minute, we've got this World Health Organization that's supposed to be caring for everybody, and you've got this treatment that works, whether it's proton therapy or whatever it might be, that would end loads of suffering in this particular country, because they're still going down this kind of like old-fashioned route of remedies and chemistry, whatever. I'm not going to say too many things. If you're in that situation, you wouldn't know what to do. But it bugs me that somewhere in the world they've got like pretty much a 99% fix for that, probability remedy for that, but you can't have it unless you cross over the border and do this. But it exists.
I know. I was thinking about this the other day, and there's one sort of specific case, which was a particular type of vaccine to treat cancer. Now, it was only available. Well, it was available in Mexico, and people were going there for this particular vaccine. Now, you see, I thought, surely if it's a hoax and it doesn't work, then surely they're part of the World Health Organization's, they've signed up to the treaties. I would think so. That doctors wouldn't be allowed to administer that there. Now, I'm not saying it does work or it doesn't work, but you would think that there would be a bit of oversight in things that are dangerous if they're if they're misleading and they don't work, or
actually going back to the film Dallas Buyers Club. Actually, Mexico is a little bit of a
well, a little bit,
because then he has to go to Mexico to find this doctor that can then prescribe these, and one of them was only it's peptide T, is this kind of it's an amino acid, basically. It's like a natural thing, but he couldn't take it across the border, and he couldn't get it in America. So whether there is some kind of difference in Mexico,
I mean, there just seems to be a lot of therapies, there's certain people that talk about going there to have stem cell therapies and stuff like that. But what I mean is, I'm not saying these work or they don't work. I'm just saying that surely if they don't work and they're dangerous and they're scams, then surely they should be outlawed worldwide. And then you wouldn't be able to go there, because if this person's a doctor and they're running a clinic and they're advertising it online, it wouldn't be hard to shut them down. So is the World Health Organization not doing enough, or are they not really? I don't know. I was curious when I saw that, and I was
the theory of constraints, I think, is what you might say, without saying sort of too much. But again, just going back to a few things that you said, it's like, why is it the way that it is?
Yeah.
Is it, you know, like if you wanted to use benefit of the doubt, is it just it's too much red tape and there's too many regulations without removing old ones, and now it gets too complex, and it's you know, the entire World Health Organization, the representatives of that governing body are not really democratically voted in, as far as I'm aware. You know, I could be wrong. It's like we don't know what's going on there. We just we're on the receiving end of whatever it is treaties they sign or whatever they agree upon. And I think that it's why certain medication. If you were gonna get all these member states involved, it should be fairly easy to distribute the you know, the financial kind of the research in investments and everything else, and whatever each country's donating or putting forward, distribute that wealth so that everybody in those countries, especially where that particular type of illness is prevalent, so say the Western world, we just need a little bit more funding in these key Western world areas to make sure that is available. We know it's working, and like, I just don't see why people should have to, you know, I don't know. I just don't know why it's like it is. I have my ideas, and perhaps I'll talk about those in a later episode, because I don't want to be all conspiratorial and like, you know.
No, but I think like even if you don't go down the conspiratorial routes and you just look at how ineffective most of these bodies seem to be at times, I think it is just when you make, because we made such a push for everything to be global, and like you know, in America, for example, you know, when you've got 50 states and you're trying to manage those 50 states, it's too easy for people to make mistakes and things to go wrong, and then it's very difficult to rectify those things later. So the system just carries on being incorrect. You know, I'm talking about maybe like funding to a state, or you know, regulation to a state that doesn't make any sense and should have been altered. You know, so when you're looking at something like the World Health Organization, that's this huge body that's supposed to be overseeing world health, well, does it not work because it just becomes this huge bureaucratic machine that, because it's there we go,
it's all right,
it then becomes
fine. Thank you, cat timer.
Thank you, cat. I was pointing at the owl, but it's the cat. Does it become paralyzed to actually have any effects because it's so big? You know,
yes, I do know what you're saying, but also I just don't think it works for every single nation to follow the same order, because evidently every single nation, even just right down to the attitude of that nation, they're, you know, stiff upper lip, perseverance. Like if this country kind of maybe decided to get on with something a certain way, then that might work for those people. But trying to tell them to do exactly what's the same for like the people in Italy that have a completely different social structure. Like, you know, a lot of those, like they found a problem in Italy during lockdown and stuff because a lot of people lived with their elderly family members, and there was a lot more people to at home, whereas like it's a different setup. I just don't think that, especially on a global scale, you know, trying to dictate what every single person should do. That's why, you know,
and also, you know, you've got an unfair sort of mix of wealthy and, you know, impoverished, and you know, ethnic issues in terms of just purely some ethnic backgrounds will be more susceptible, like you say, like the Italians were with everyone living under it. You know, you know, whether it's social effects or whether it's genetic or what have you. You know, so it doesn't really work, but. We need more democracy at community level. Yes, I mean, I think essentially making everything more decentralised would be a better idea. Well, what I mean is giving more control over. So, like, if you look on a world level, giving more control back to countries for issues that are very country-centric, so it's easier for people from that country to solve it. And like, you know, even in Great Britain, maybe, you know, local councils need more powers to decide how they spend money and what they do, because it's different. Again, a very rural county does not have the same issues that Westminster would have,
Again, though, it is a complex situation.
Yeah.
And I will stand by that in the sense of, like they're even talking about, universal basic income and all the stuff to come with AI and stuff is just a blanket equal distribution of global wealth. Actually, would that ever work because of the differences in attitudes and everything else? Actually, it wouldn't. Would an even distribution of anything kind of work on that level, because the world is so turbulent and divided?
And one thing that is true is if you did something like that and you gave everyone a universal basic income, some people would have no reason to get up in the morning and do anything.
No, I know.
So I'm not sure.
But what they would do is consume and eat and
although I think it's
consume.
It's widely accepted that if something like that did happen, it would likely just be people living at the survival line. But we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it is an interesting topic, and
it is. And I am holding back. I'll be honest. I am holding back on what I could say and what I might say about anything. But why am I doing that? I suppose because I don't know, actually.
At the moment we're living in a period of time where we've come out of a very divisive period during COVID with opinions, and we also live in a period of time where, especially in the UK, there's certain issues around freedom of speech, and it's people are very quick to call opinions that they don't agree with conspiratorial or whatnot. So it does feel like it's a difficult time to maybe have some open, honest opinions at times.
Yeah.
But hopefully that's going to change.
Yeah.
And, maybe we're at that point with where they had, for example, the Industrial Revolution. We're at that point where before the Industrial Revolution, everyone would said, we're going to bring machines in, they're going to do this, that and the other. Everyone was wrong.
Yeah.
Like everyone's going to be slightly wrong with their idea of what happens after AI and
everything else.
But I think it's interesting to keep the conversations as open as you can.
Of course, yeah. I think also as well, I can get quite fired up when I talk about certain things.
Yeah.
Then you get carried away, and then you're really not thinking.
Yeah.
When it's driven by that kind of like energy and emotion, because you're like, well, of course it's like this for this reason, and blah blah blah. And then you start speaking faster than you're kind of thinking, and that can be regrettable at times. But so I'll delve back into it and go a little bit more into detail as to what my views are, perhaps after we've discussed it on the surface. But for now, I shall just we'll keep it on a level kind of playing field, and
there'll be plenty to talk about in 2026, which is not far away.
Yeah, that will be the next one.
Yeah.
When this video is uploaded, it might already be 2026 anyway.
Yeah.
But we are recording this pre-2026, only by a couple of days. And it's been, as I said earlier, a very different Christmas. It has this year, but still seems to have been kind of like, a little bit kind of, you don't know where the day's gone, you're a little bit tired after it all. It's been a little bit chaotic in areas that it's not usually, and it was a nice sort of like chill out session today, a little bit, and we'll get back on it in the new year.
We will see you in 2026.
And if you do see this before 2026, Happy New Year. If you see it afterwards, hope you had a Happy New Year. And I think that is about this. That is about it. It's the Wheatie Beers. And also, I hope you all had a lovely Christmas and a nice few days over Christmas. Again, New Year. Hope you have a good one. Look after yourselves. Take care of each other. And as we enter the new year, keep pushing. That is it. Take it easy.
Goodbye.
On the quality and quantity of the data they continue to return.